My name is R. Crosby Lyles, and this is news from the can. I haven't made a video in a while. Just a short note here. This is Puerto Rico, and they have tremors all the time in Puerto Rico and have for I don't even know how long. Generally, they have right here on this, right down here in this area of southern Puerto Rico. There's always a lot of tremors, earthquakes down there. I believe the island is basically volcanic. If I zoom out a little bit here, you can see this line here that's basically a fault line. Well, right in front of or behind this fault line, however you want to look at it, this is a string of volcanoes. These islands are all volcanic. Most of y'all probably know this already. In any case, why worry about it? There was a lot of talk about La Palma over here on the other side of the Atlantic, off the coast of Morocco, right? Santa Cruz, La Palmas, because they were afraid that a section of the island might break loose and cause a massive landslide to go into the Atlantic Ocean and create a very large tsunami. And the volcano came and went, and and there was a lot of back and forth about that. And basically, they decided that pretty much the scuttlebutt was, probably not likely for that to happen. But hey, it's interesting. It's interesting chit chat. On the other hand, for several years now, I've been concerned about, rightly or wrongly, Puerto Rico. Why? Because this is the Puerto Rican Trench here. This is the deepest part of the North Atlantic seabed, the basin, the North Atlantic basin. So this is a giant drop-off, and I just happened to notice today, I haven't really talked about this much because, look, disasters are interesting. It's a good idea to keep an eye on things. If this ever breaks loose, I don't know how much warning we could possibly have. But I think it's good to talk about things that are possible to happen, because that way we can be talking about it. And if it really is a problem, well, then we can keep an eye on it. But you can see how many, the scale, 3.5, magnitude 3.5 at a depth of 31 kilometers, and that's just to the northeast of San Juan. This is a magnitude 3.2 at about 60.4 kilometers depth. But out here in the middle, see, this is the very bottom of this thing. You're talking about magnitude 3.4 at a depth of 15.1 kilometers. And over here, 3.0 magnitude at 61.8 kilometers. To me, this has a signature of maybe a little landslide. Something like that. Or will actually be a big landslide if it was magnitude 3.4. A bunch of boulders and stuff flowing down. So the thought had occurred to me several years ago, and I really haven't talked about it because I don't really want to get into a thing where I'm just peddling, fear, disasters and stuff. But if you just a casual look at the topography here, and that looks like it's landslide city, pretty much. You can see how the debris is piled up down here. This definitely looks like, or it looks like a debris field is what it looks like. It looks like the debris field from erosion, especially this section right here. Just kind of sort of casually looking at Ramey Air Force Base, Quebradillas, this point out here. Well, that is sort of a underwater escarpment. That looks kind of dangerous. And if that was to potentially and it's it's a very steep area here. If this large section of Puerto Rico were to give way, this to me looks a lot more dangerous than La Palma. I mean, really. And so this is, if you look here at this business here, also this the southern part of the island as well. I mean, this is a very steep drop off here. You're talking about cliffs here that are 1,000 feet deep. This is a canyon below Puerto Rico. What kind of havoc could that cause for Venezuela, Suriname, and the other islands, and Caracas, and other parts of the Caribbean? So, south of Puerto Rico, if something were to break loose there, that would be problematic. Not sure about how problematic it would be for other parts across the ocean, but if this part of Puerto Rico were to break loose, it looks somewhat treacherous. It looks like it has that look like it's eroded, and you'd have to ask a geologist, really, about how strong that is and why it potentially is not that dangerous. But if it was to break loose in that deep water, if a large volume of earth were to go sliding down into this very deep ravine that's like miles deep, several miles deep, it's quite deep here, then you would have a tsunami that would go right up the eastern seaboard of the United States. I'm not sure what would be safe from that. You'd have to look at somebody who really was up on their fluid dynamics. You could see flooding, some really wicked stuff going on from Miami to the Gulf of St. Lawrence, Halifax, New York. Forget about it. Yeah, and probably all the way up and across the Atlantic over to Europe, Britain and France and Spain. And I don't know so much about France because it's kind of blocked by Spain and Portugal. So, yeah, there you go. I haven't put up a video in a while. I've been busy fixing some stuff around the house, and we've had some significant snow events. Somebody left a message recently on the Armageddon Line video, and there it is, 2 million views. Somebody left a comment on this video, and basically, this is a rehash, a reiteration. Look at that. You can see that flow, how the ice flows around Greenland. Okay, so basically, this is a reiteration of the work of, and I bring them up because they're basically ordinary guys, Art Bell and Whitley Strieber. Whitley Strieber is basically a writer. He wrote, I guess, horror kind of sort of stuff. The Wolfen, I think it is. Wolfen, right? And he wrote the Communion books. His experience with being his Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind, and maybe Fifth Kind, I don't know. Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind with extraterrestrial folks. This was interesting here. This little combining psilocybin. I don't know what he's talking about. This guy went to Jamaica, and apparently psilocybin is legal in Jamaica, and so they've got all kinds of products that they make down there, chocolate, because they also have cacao that you make chocolate out of. COCAO, which I usually just pronounce it cocoa, but I guess it's cacao. So anyway, that's the work of Art Bell and Whitley Strieber. And so why is that important? A guy left a comment that said, okay, 6 years and counting, hasn't happened yet, just saying kind of thing. And I'm like, well, there was an incident that happened. Now, this all this stuff is in my channel. Look down the channel here. So why will we get a sudden onset ice age instead of a boiling day? Okay, so technically we're in an ice age. We've been in an ice age for the past 3 million years, 2 to 3 million years. Okay, really what it's called, what it is it's a glacial period. Rapid onset glacial period. We're in an interglacial period, but the thing is we're at the end of an interglacial period. Almost time's up. They last about 10,000 years. And where we are in the Milankovitch cycles, you will hear the global warming people tell you, and global warming's a thing, because in advance of every interglacial period, there's a period of advanced global warming. If you look at the geologic record, that's what you see. So, something that, what they pointed out, because the way the communication that happened about glacial periods and things is that they were slow to come. It took thousands of years for interglacial for glacial periods to come on and leave their snow and and build up glaciers and stuff like that. And then Art Bell and Whitley Strieber, they were going to write a fictional book. And they're basically just a couple of dudes. They're not really scientists. Art Bell, rest in peace, died a few years ago. And he was a host of a coast to coast radio show. So their credibility is for something scientific like climate change is not all that high, and they've probably been chided about it and stuff. But there was a movie made called The Day After Tomorrow about this that came out in 2006 or something like that. And very shortly after that, Al Gore came out with An Inconvenient Truth. So, and I've talked about this many times on my channel. You'd have to just look down through my videos and see ad nauseum, and the amount of methane that's been released over the past 5 years is fucking ridiculous. And just take a look over at Copernicus. But anyway, so these guys, out of nowhere, they're going to write a fictional book, and they happen to see that there's all this rapid changes in sea level, and that they principally there were found woolly mammoths with green vegetation still in their mouths. They were frozen in place, buried in snow, with green vegetation still in their mouths, like they were just hanging out, like it was warm and fuzzy where they were, up above the Arctic Circle, which would suggest advanced global warming. And they were buried in a snowstorm, frozen in place for 10,000 years. Okay. So what they discovered was glacial periods are not slow coming, that they can come like a thief in the night, that large swaths of real estate can be buried in massive amounts of snow, like 10, 15 feet of snow in one whop. So to answer the commenter, I would say, what have we seen lately? 50 people just died this past winter in Buffalo, New York. Why they were out milling around on the street, I don't know. But 50 people were frozen to death in their cars because when 10 feet of snow drops in one whop, you're going to die. If you're out somewhere and you don't have survival tools with you in your car, this is the thing about my channel. I'm always harping about, carry survival shit in your car. If you live where it snows, carry survival stuff in your car. Ham radio, you can get little handheld radios, ham radios, or Citizens Band radios or whatever. Carry a jug of water, a bucket with some food and some toilet paper in it, because if you get stuck in that snow, you're going to need that bucket to shit in. I'm not kidding. This isn't a joke. And people in California will tell you, oh yeah, it's a real joy being buried. They were buried in about 10 feet of snow for a long time. And these people, we're talking about up in the Bear Lake area, and really all up and down California into Oregon and Washington. People who live up in the mountains, it's really beautiful up there and stuff like that. But when you get hit with 10 feet of snow, the snow plows ain't coming. When it's an apocalyptic amount of snow, you're going to be stuck. And if your roof isn't designed properly, you better have something to get your ass up there and get that snow off of there. Like that Minnesota roof raiser that I've talked about many times ad nauseum. This comes from having a lot of energy held in the sea. The heat capacity of the sea, the ocean's water, is much higher than the heat capacity of land. So if there is an event like the Hunga Tonga volcano that popped off last year and threw a whole bunch of water vapor up into the mesosphere, all the way up into the mesosphere, creates ice crystals and stuff like that, causes albedo, it can cause the temperature of the earth to drop. And I said, wow, this is the only volcano that might actually cause global warming, and blah, blah, blah. We're going to find out. You have some freezing temperatures in the summertime, which we see, because basically what this dynamic does is it causes instability. You'll see, let me pull this up for you. Climate Reanalyzer. I use Climate Reanalyzer because it's easy. It's right here. So this is 2 meter temperature anomaly. That's the air temperature from the ground to the 2 meters high, about 6 feet high. See, this is the purple over here is -10 to -18 degrees Celsius below nominal. Right next to it, and then right next to it will be 10 to 18 degrees above nominal. So you'll have super hot temperatures, super anomalously warm temperatures right next to anomalously cold temperatures, and that creates stability. That creates high wind and frozen precipitation. Lots and lots and lots and lots of frozen precipitation. So that's the setup, or rain. And so over the past 10 years, we've seen many, many events where 5 feet of rain will fall in one event, whether it's Houston, Texas, or whether it's right near Kilauea on the Big Island of Hawaii. We've seen this happen in Europe, just gargantuan amounts of rain, just ridiculous, apocalyptic, Armageddon-like amounts of rain and snow. And when it's, either way, if it's rain, so the bottom line is, with my channel, I have a statement of purpose. I guess I had a cold that day or something, and it's a little slow. But basically what I tell you in here is you got to be prepared for whatever. I mean, like literally whatever. Hellacious amounts of rain, hellacious amounts of snow, hellacious amounts of fire. I mean, that's what's on tap. So they found, I hope I'm not leaving anything out here. So here, you've got your instability, and you've got your massive amounts of frozen precipitation, and you've got your fires. What will happen is you'll get, because of these temperature differentials between the ocean and the land, you can have weather systems that will lock into place and stay locked into place for months at a time, that will create droughts and fires and high winds and things that are just, really not conducive to life, right? So it's like, that's basically the upshot. This statement of purpose basically says, be prepared for whatever, and get yourself a little ham radio. And keep the battery, and have yourself a power supply, like a Jackery or something like that, stuff like that, and provisions and provisions that you can keep in your car, because literally 50 people died going for a pack of cigarettes in Buffalo, New York. And so I'm not just doing this because I want to be cool, right? And side note, every time a family member or a friend of mine gets their panties in a twist about something, we have some kind of little disagreement or something, my channel takes a dive, because I guess somebody calls up and complains, and shit. So whatever, man. I guess you don't want people to be warned about the potential dangers that there are out there, because I don't see anybody else talking about this shit. They always tell you they put it in the lens of, in a special box, because they want to keep the sales of solar panels and shit going. really, if you want to decarbonize, we could decarbonize the planet in 6 months. Replace every coal-fired power plant with a nuclear reactor. You know what? I mean, NuScale. I keep talking about NuScale. I don't have any arrangement with NuScale. They don't pay me or anything like that. But I looked at their product and their pebbles that they make and stuff like that, and it's just like it's a good product. And basically, you can take those out. They put them on a truck. They deliver them. Boom. You set them up. You can put them anywhere. If you've got the wires coming in to an old facility, coal-fired power plant or something, you can pretty much bada boom, ching bang, set yourself up a nuclear reactor right there on the spot. You know, you can convert every last coal-fired power plant on the planet into a nuclear reactor, and be done with it. And decarbonize it, you know, in short order. Quick and easy. No problem. Right? But, you know, they don't worry about it. Oh, Fukushima, you know, less people have died from nuclear power, anything having to do with nuclear power, than coal. Coal kills thousands of people a year from the air pollution and from mining it and blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So... because they want to sell solar panels and electric cars and shit. You know, just get rid of the power plants. You know, if you just need the heat. You need the heat. You need the electricity to run your smelters or whatever. You know, and if you got plenty of power, then you can run all the decarbonizing stuff you want to run. But what that is over the past 5 years, they basically blew the lid off of CO2 in the atmosphere. Any greenhouse gases just went right off the charge, because they went crazy making solar panels. And the way you do that is with a giant handful of quartz, which is what they make solar panels out of, quartz, and a giant handful of coal. What is it? Planet of the Humans. You can watch that and see how this is, you know, this whole thing. Put them together and burn a whole bunch of other coal, raise up the heat, and basically it's the heat is a reaction between the coal and you get left with. You pump out a bunch of CO2 into the atmosphere, and you're left with basically fairly pure silicon, which has got to be, you know, further distilled. But that's how they do it, and it just you can see it. I mean, if you look down my channel, it's a cacophony of Elon Musk here, enigmatic fiduciary. Our best climate change efforts haven't helped. You know, I mean, it's just like it just went off the chain. Whatever they did was not helpful. I mean, totally. Didn't help. So anyway, there's that. So this guy says, hadn't happened yet. You know, tell him about it, big dog. Hadn't happened yet. Well, Armageddon hadn't happened yet. I don't know. Do you have a television set, do you? do you have a television set? You ever seen those massive floods over there in China and stuff? I mean, yeah. Tell them. So just this past winter, Jeremy Renner, this guy here, wow. Dude, I'm not worthy. This guy got ran the fuck over with a snowcat, 16,000-pound machine on the pavement. Luckily, he didn't go into the part where the tires are, and it ran right over, came within millimeters of vital organs and nerves. This man is so lucky to be alive. So basically, he's got like 1 million screws in him. It crushed his rib cage and pierced his liver and stuff with one of his ribs, and broke fingers and femur, I think. A bunch of bones in his leg and stuff, and ran over his face, and his eyeball popped out and stuff, and kind of crushed his skull a little bit and shit. And he's got screws in his jaw and screws all over his body. He's like basically like the Bionic Man at this point, only he's not bionic. And he's riding through this with no pain medication. Yeah, 52 years old. Yeah, that's a wow. But anyway, they had some deep snow, and so good time to have a a snowcat, and he'll tell you that, he did something that was, early in the morning, not safe, and it threw him under the treads, and he got run over by his own machine. So, it takes a lot of time, a lot of times to, when you're in a hurry to do something and you don't really want to take the time to shut the thing down and put on the brake and do it, wear a seatbelt, and then unclip your seatbelt. Getting thrown out, people get killed all the time getting thrown out of machines. And the machine itself, running a machine like that can bang you up too. But that was a lot of snow. And, there's some places where if you don't have a snowcat, you're stuck. And you better have supplies, especially if you got people that need insulin and shit, and you're going to have a way to generate power, and you want to make sure you've got your power generator set up so you don't gas yourself with carbon monoxide, because people die every year. And it's like you gotta be a nag. Nobody likes naggers like me. You gotta be a nag. Because people don't take stuff seriously, and I don't want to harp on Jeremy Renner. That's some shit, and I think his hardest shit is going to be, well, I don't know, that's pretty fucking hard. He's going to have ups and downs for years to come. Just having flashbacks and shit like that. There's some PTSD involved in that. And there are things, there are techniques that can be used to get through that. And all I would say to Jeremy Renner is Enlight Wellness. They don't pay me. This is not a paid promotion. They don't pay me, but I have experience with Enlight Wellness. The box that they have, they pulse the lights. It's photobiomodulation. Write it down. Photobiomodulation. Jeremy Renner. Call Enlight Wellness. They're some of the best. Visum, VISUM. They have a look like a little wand. I use it all the time. My wife had vertigo, it's almost like a tinnitus, but it's vertigo because you have dizziness. Put that light on her ears, cleared it right up. It's, it really works like magic, but you got to get the right shit. Not all light companies are the same. Thor makes some pretty good shit. They got like a bed that costs you about $80,000 that Navy SEALs use. The Navy SEALs are using it. And various football teams, various athletic teams use it because the shit works for regenerating tissue, for regenerating your body, especially for shit on your head. You know what I'm saying? You got to watch out about. You don't really want to have it going directly in your eye. You know what I'm saying? So. You don't want to be looking at it. It's pretty intense light. So, I don't know, maybe you gotta ask professionals about that kind of stuff. But photobiomodulation was first developed in the 60s and 70s, maybe actually probably further back than that. But they didn't have the kind of, lasers were required. You know what I'm saying? DARPA started working on this stuff for real after the Soviets started working on it, but DARPA started working on it back in 1970, so it's been around that long. And then there were people in the 80s, and the guy from Enlight Wellness, David Malone, that's it right there, CEO. David Malone. David Malone's been doing this. David and Jane, I believe, co-founder. So he's been doing this for over 30 years, since the 80s. And they use LEDs. He's like special source for the LEDs. I thought about, I wonder if I could, manufacture, because they had like a supply chain issue there for a while, manufacture LEDs and, furnish them to people like this. Because David Malone is like, they've got, that's one of the reasons why their shit's so good, is because the LEDs are specially sourced, and I can't remember what the hell they call them. There's a name for them. this stuff. But anyway, he's been doing this forever. For a while there, he kind of he stepped away. They had somebody else manufacturing him. It didn't work out. He had to come back. But this is basically in terms of how much you pay for it. Also, Enlight's better. The pricing is better. Things may change, but generally it's in like $5,000-$6,000 for a setup with the box and light therapy products. He's been doing this forever, and this is stuff that I use myself. The pulsar of the box is what really puts it over the edge, but you can actually use the pad by itself. But the pads kind of make it easy. Like, if you got a headache, if you got something on your head or your face, or you're, in a particular place, and you don't want to you don't want to get on a whole bed or whatever, you can basically just see this actually right here. This thing goes over your eyes, and it works great actually. You're talking about people that were having problems having to take nitro all the time, and using it, they don't have to take nitro as much because there's actual science behind this. The light, the photons impact the mitochondria and allow the mitochondria to release nitric oxide. Nitric oxide's a vasodilator. So basically it allows your cells, it regenerates the mitochondria of your cells and gets oxygen, into the sinews of your body. And that light will penetrate down as far as, I believe, check me if I'm wrong, about 10 centimeters down into the body. So this is where rapid healing is at. Again, they don't pay me. I'm just basically forwarding this information. I do use the product. Full disclosure, I use the product, but we use them all. If I had a Thor bed, I would use it. And I've got a Vism wand that's good because I can just carry it around. It's kind of pricey. It's pretty pricey. I'm talking about $1,500 for a wand, something like that. And I think this setup here, I don't necessarily want to go down that road because it's better to talk to them. But you're talking about a few grand, a few $1,000s. It's a lot more affordable than other systems that are out there. But anyway, they're nice people. And I went to a seminar with them a number of years ago, which is really, this is where I learned about this stuff, and it's really fascinating. You think, well, light, whatever, just go out and get some sun. Yeah, you can do that. Sun's got a lot of UV in it. I mean, you're going to have to put some sunscreen on or figure something out with that. Or you can just slap one of these bad boys on. Whatever it is. I mean, people are using it to, get their dicks hard again and stuff. Not to put too fine a point on it. But yeah. Because, nitric oxide, vasodilator. Take a light pad and, take pants down and sit on the frickin' thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that kind of stuff. Put it on your back, whatever, back problems. Obviously you want to lift properly and stuff like that. But anyway, that's it. This is not a paid promotion. They don't pay me to say this. But just because of Jeremy Renner, I figured I'm sure somebody's probably mentioned it to him. If he's got a physical therapist, it may have come up. If it hasn't, that's okay. I don't want to impugn anybody or anything like that. It's out there. It's new enough. I'm sure he's probably seen it or heard about it, but I'm just putting my 2 cents in. I just want to tell him because, dude, what a, wow. Just that drive, that's what gets me up in the morning. I'm like, man, if I'm 59, I feel like shit. This guy's only like 7 years younger than me. I feel like dog shit every day. I don't feel like doing nothing. You know what I mean? But, if you're really interested in, then ultimately, the reason I'm bringing this up is because there are men and women who have stopped taking their opioids because of light therapy. So that's that. So in order to avoid getting on drugs, it's an option. A real no bullshit, actually works option. People are getting off of opioids right now from using light therapy. Probably should top the thing with this, but again, they don't, I'm not promoting them. They don't pay me, but I am promoting them because it works. But I'm really promoting the entire science. So, again, there are many brands out there. I like that brand because of the price point and the quality of the stuff. But again, Vism makes a wand. Thor makes great shit. You know, there are other companies out there that make stuff, but this is the one that I know about, that I'm sure about. You know, and again, they don't pay me. This is not a paid promotion. It's just me talking to Jeremy Renner here about options, getting out of pain, feeling better. You know, that's large. 10 weeks, and the guy's basically out running around. You know, probably working out and shit. I mean, that's just amazing, really. So I wanted to throw that in there, and mixing it in with all this other stuff. So there's amazing stuff going on in the world, but look, be prepared. If you live where it snows, you're gonna want to have your shit together. And you're gonna want to have survival shit in your car, a 5-gallon bucket with some toilet paper, at least a gallon of water in there. Some kind of handheld way to communicate, which they've got handheld CB radios, handheld ham radios. I like a cop whistle. I say this every time. A cop whistle, that Kate used in Titanic. If you need to get somebody's attention, in the snow, strong flashlight, maybe a flare gun, something warm, a blanket where you can get to it. That's if you live where it snows and there's any potential that it might snow while you're taking a drive to the 7-Eleven or to Walmart or wherever you're Safeway or wherever you're going to get whatever you're going to get, some Cheerios or whatever. Yeah, no shit. That's what time it is. And California, forget about it. Ask somebody from California if they think it's like Armageddon. They might as well call that the Armageddon state. If the flames aren't 14,000 feet tall coming down the highway, it's snowing like Armageddon line, or it's raining like there's some kind of apocalypse. So get out of here with that stuff. Yeah, of course. You're damn right. So, and that's about it. They found lakes filled with the bones of woolly mammoths all in a lake. They're like, wow, what's going on here? They thought maybe it was a meteor, that went off and that they all ended up in the lake. No, it's probably a fire. They were probably in a prairie somewhere with a lot of grass, and they were all piled into that lake to escape a giant fire. So that's all part of the same thing. Fires, the nuclear war, the whole worry about nuclear war is nuclear winter from particles from firestorm that put a whole bunch of junk up in the atmosphere and blot out the sun. So, there it is. I mean, it's all science. It's all there. These are all the apocalyptic things. And it's pretty much, at this point, it's pretty much man-made. There's a discussion to be had about that whole thing. And if what this is talking about, the Armageddon line's talking about, if the AMOC shuts down, the Mary O'Donnell overturning current, which runs up, which is not the Gulf Stream, by the way. The Gulf Stream is kind of part of it, but it's not really the Gulf Stream. If that shuts down, and why that would shut down is because something that's not really talked about very much. If you just take a look at this real quick, you will notice that temperatures along the equator are nominal, by and large, with some cold spots in there. The Congo is like basically nominally several degrees. Let's see what we got here. 3 to 6 degrees below nominal all the time now. I mean, it's basically that most of the time. So this will cause, with warmer temperatures in the 30, 40, 60 degree latitude and cooler nominal temperatures along the equator, then you're necessarily going to cause issues with ocean currents and air currents. Stuff is going to change. We've been locked into an El Nino for the last 3 years. That could switch back over or not. I mean, so there it is. And so, yeah, I mean, look, opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one and it stinks, right? I look at it from a first principles standpoint a lot of times. And basically what you're looking at there is you're looking at instability. When you heat a plate, it gets hot and then you have airflow things that it's instability. That's the big thing. So it's not all hot. It's not all cold. The planet's not going to turn into Venus just because of what it is, because of the rate of rotation and the fact that we have so much water on the planet. But what it will do is it will become super unstable where you have super hot zones like this one right here, right next to super cold zones like right up here. And that's that. My name is R. Crosby Lyles. I hope you enjoyed this version of All Hell's Breaking Loose Everywhere. And, I never mentioned gun violence, but, goddamn, y'all. Goddamn. Why does anybody even really need to say anything? It's kind of fucking ridiculous. So, that's all I got. My name is R. Crosby Lyles. Love you guys, man. Take care of yourself. Don't take any wooden nickels. Hug your people when they go to work and when they go, to school and stuff. And because, goddamn. We're like we're like known I'm American, so in case you're in another country, we're like known around the world for being like dumbasses. Psychotic dumbasses. For the shit we got going on in this country. Let that sink in. That's all I got. I love you guys. My name is R. Crosby Lyles. Sally forth. See you.